Hey, speaking of hating Biden, you see this clip?
There was a clearance process for talking to the press.
Right.
There was a clearance process that went through Anita Dunn. There's nothing wrong with it, but everybody had to be cleared. You never heard from the cabinet during this guy's administration. Right. You never heard from them. People in the cabinet. I knew the Kennedy cabinet better than this cabinet. Right. They hid these people because they wanted to have him out there with the aviator glasses being the superstar. And they wanted everybody else had to be quiet. The staff people in the White House never talked. This is interesting. The whole pattern of it was protect him. And I understand there's a reason for that. And it's smart people that know better than we do about his ability to communicate. They know every day how good he is every day, not just when he's ready for an interview with you or Susan, but every single day when they get on the phone.
All press interactions had to be run by Biden's handlers because they wanted Biden to shine over his cabinet. Biden, the guy who could barely string a sentence together, they were protecting him because they didn't want his younger, more charismatic cabinet members to outshine him. Which is one of the reasons why his cabinet was so quiet. And Trump's cabinet's going to be a lot louder. They didn't want anyone to be able to talk better than him. Christ alive. The Wall Street Journal wrote a big article about how much AIDS protected Biden. I can't, man. I'm going to burst a blood vessel. No. Hold on. Let me see if I can... How the White House functioned. With the diminished Biden in charge, aides kept meetings short and controlled access. Top advisors acted as go-betweens, and public interactions became more scripted. The administration denied Biden has declined. You got it? That was fast. Thank you. Don't know what I'd do without you guys. When was this written? December 19th, 2024. So right after, 3 weeks ago. I've always held the position, by the way, that Biden was cognitively declined. My position was just that Trump also has, and that it doesn't matter because a president basically doesn't make any decisions on their own. All of their decisions get run by like the broader complex of lobbyists and aides and, cabinet secretaries. During the 2020 presidential primary, Jill Biden campaigned so extensively across Iowa that she held events in more counties than her husband, a fact her press secretary at the time, Michael LaRosa, touted to a local reporter. His superior in the Biden campaign quickly chided him. As the three rode in a minivan through the state's cornfields, Anthony Bernal, then a deputy campaign manager and chief of staff to Joe Biden, pressed LaRosa to contact the reporter again and play down any comparison in campaign appearances between Joe Biden, then 77, and his wife, who was 8 years his junior. Didn't you read this before? No. Her energetic schedule only highlighted her husband's more plodding pace, LaRosa recalls being told. The message from Biden's team was clear. The more you talk her up, the more you make him look bad, LaRosa said. To adapt the White House around the needs of a diminished leader, they told visitors to keep meetings focused. Interactions with senior Democratic lawmakers and some cabinet members, including powerful secretaries, such as Defense's Lloyd Austin and Treasury's Janet Yellen, were infrequent or grew less frequent. Do you know how bad that is? That they're even trying to limit his interactions with his own secretaries? The Secretary of Defense? You have gone over this before. I have not read this article. I promise you I have not read this article. Yes, you have. No, you're not gaslighting me. You're not moving my furniture around in my living room then telling me you didn't, okay? You're not getting me. This is from 3 weeks ago. I wasn't even streaming when this came out. Pretty sure you did. This is from December 19th, 2024. I wasn't even, this was like one of the last streams I did. You're right, I didn't move your furniture around. It was always in that configuration. Infrequent or grew less frequent. Some legislative leaders had a hard time getting at the president's ear at key moments, including ahead of the U.S.'s disastrous pullout from Afghanistan. Senior advisors were often put into roles that some administration officials and lawmakers thought Biden should occupy, with people such as National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, Senior Counselor Steve Ricchetti, and National Economic Council head Lael Brainard, and her predecessor frequently in a position of being go-betweens for the president. Press aides who compiled packages of news clips for Biden were told by senior staff to exclude negative stories about the president. The president wasn't talking to his own pollsters as surveys showed him trailing in the 2024 race. They wanted 4 more years, man. Keep reading, it gets worse. It's a long article. Oh, well, I guess more of it is comments than I expected, but it's still pretty damn long. Presidents always have gatekeepers, but in Biden's case, the walls around him were higher and the controls greater, according to Democratic lawmakers, donors, and aides who worked for Biden and other administrations. There were limits over who Biden spoke with, limits on what they said to him, and limits around the source of information he consumed. Throughout his presidency, a small group of aides stuck close to Biden to assist him, especially when traveling or speaking to the public. They body him to such a high degree, a person who witnessed it said, adding that the hand-holding is unlike anything other recent presidents have had. Probably Reagan had it, towards the end. Check out Good Days and Bad Days. You know what? I'll take this section, okay? There's still so much I have to cover. I'm so far behind. The president's slide has been hard to overlook. While preparing last year for his interview with Robert K. Hur, the special counsel who investigated Biden's handling of classified documents, the president couldn't recall lines that his team discussed with him. At events, aides often repeated instructions to him, such as where to enter or exit a stage that would be obvious to the average person. Biden's team tapped campaign co-chair Jeffrey Katzenberg, a Hollywood mogul, to find a voice coach to improve the president's fading warble. Biden, now 82, has long operated with a tight-knit inner circle of advisors. The protective culture inside the White House was intensified because Biden started his presidency at the height of the COVID pandemic. His staff took great care to prevent him from catching the virus by limiting in-person interactions with him, but the shell constructed for the pandemic was never fully taken down, and his advanced age hardened it. Removed him from cabinet secretaries, chairs of congressional committees, other high-ranking officials. Biden, staffed with advisors since he became a senator at age 30, came to the White House with a small team of fiercely loyal, long-serving aides who knew him in Washington so well that they could be particularly effective proxies. They didn't tolerate criticism of Biden's performance or broader dissent within the Democratic Party, especially when it came to the president's decision to run for a second term. That's great, man. Your team of aides you've been curating for literally half a century. So just yes men, or people who are too compromised. Like, these people are too old, even if they're not yes men, and they are. But even if they weren't, like, you're way too in the space to be able to evaluate. Yeah, you're in a bubble. No wonder they failed. We basically didn't have a party for 4 years. No kidding. Ideally, the meetings would start later in the day, since Biden has never been at his best first thing in the morning. Me too. Some of the people said, limit potential missteps, long rambling. The fact that all of this was going on and they still ran him a second time, it genuinely defies belief. And Biden recently said he thought he could win, by the way, against Trump if he was still the front runner rather than Kamala Harris. Absolutely delusional. I can't. It's old news and we all already know that, don't we? What was even the point of saying that? He's just ego, man. Democrats don't want to believe that there's anything that's fundamentally changed, you know?